All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of The Urban Gardener. I want to thank you all so much for joining with me here today. And if you haven't already, please get down below there, hit that subscribe button, follow along with more garden adventures as we continue growing here on The Urban Gardener. In fact, hit that bell notification so you can be notified of upcoming episodes. So today we're going to do a garden tour. It's about time we do a garden tour this year. It's late spring and the weather's starting to give way towards summertime as it's starting to get warmer now. And we're also kind of transitioning a little bit from that cooler time in the spring to planting out some of our warmer crops heading towards the summertime. So what a great time to actually get around and take a look at all the things that we've got growing on here. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get a look around at all of our different alleyway gardens and our back patio garden. But I think what we'll do is we'll start right up front at the front alleyway garden. So right down in the front of our alleyway here, we've got this little corner space that I showed early on in the season as we had a landscaper that came in to have to fix things. They had to tear up the yard to fix some plumbing and piping. And the landscaper came in and wiped out all of our strawberry plants, and I thought they were all dead. They did all come back. As you can see, we've got a lot of great plants and they're growing really green and nice. I'm just not getting too many strawberries. I mean, there's a few small ones back in there, but yeah, that's about it that we're getting out of it. So I don't know if those plants just got stressed out from having to regrow all again after they got started, and that's kind of the case. Show you right over here, we just installed this too. I just talked about it actually in our pepper planting day episode, but our herb garden. This is something I've been wanting to get in for the last couple of years and just have kind of a space for, some really nice kind of foliage plants and then a bunch of different herbs that we've got there. I put in some stevia. I think that's a lavender of some sort. Chives, shiso. We put in a couple of extra kales that I had there, as well as some savory, and then we got some containers, and that's where we're going to keep our oreganos and mints and lemon balm, just those ones that you want to keep contained into a container, as they'll just kind of spread themselves all over the garden. We do got, I think, like some lemongrass there. And then again, I also put in some extra starts of some of my lettuce greens that we have. So I've been growing some lettuce there. I think that's a pineapple sage. And garlic chives, parsley. And of course, we got some hosta and canna and elephant ear that's going to grow there in that corner. But yeah, really nice herb garden that we put a nice little water feature in with as well too. And right next to that, we had a old box in the back that broke down this last winter. I replaced it and built a whole new box, which you'll get to see here in just a little bit. But this box was the old one, and I just repaired it. We fixed up the bottom. We actually made it just a little bit deeper. But the thing about this, and you can check out in the episode where we planted out our herb garden, we planted this out and filled it up hugelkultur style. So down in the bottom there's full of logs and wood and all sorts of things, about halfway full, and then we topped it off with our soil. So we got a kind of hugelkultur garden box that we've got there. And we're growing some spinach, which is really going well. And you can see here too, the earwigs are really enjoying them as well too. So doing a little bit of sharing in our garden, as we always do here. It's a alleyway garden. There's a lot of those types of pests that we have to work against. You know, we've got slugs and snails, and the earwigs are one of the other real big problems. They just get some really heavy populations around here. They're hard to control. We just hope that the plants like these ones just really start outgrowing them and grow so much that you know, you got plenty for yourself and you can share with the other pests too. It's all right down back up here in the front of the alleyway. On the other side though, got a lot of like flowering plants. These are some gladioluses and some other things I'm going to plant here real soon and kind of fill that space out. I'm trying to find some food things I can grow there. Maybe you have some suggestions. You can let me know down in the comments section below. But got our blueberries are really growing really well and looking really nice here this season, except for this guy here. This guy did not want to come back after this winter, so I'm not sure exactly what went wrong, but that plant is completely gone. But yeah, this should be flowering any time now and start putting out blueberries here pretty soon. And then behind them I put some of our 5-gallon wicking buckets so I could isolate these pepper varieties here. So I don't want them growing around any of my other peppers. So they're all by themselves. They're all the same variety, so they can intermingle with each other there if they want to. But yeah, we're going to try to save some seeds, and I don't want them to cross with anything else. And right here we've got a I'm having a hard time thinking about what exactly this one's called, but yeah, it just really blew up on me. It was just a really small little plant early in the season, and it's just going really crazy right now. So yeah, it's kind of giving maybe a little late afternoon shade down to the base of this apple tree that we planted out last season. And it's looking pretty good this year. Put out a bunch of flowers, but we did only get maybe a couple of fruit, and I don't know if it's really going to hold on to them, as it dropped a few of them already. But there's a couple in there I'm still kind of holding out hope for. We'll just have to wait and see on that. And then down here I put in this container that found actually just kind of sitting on the side of the road. So I picked it up and reclaimed it, and then I did something I don't usually do, but this tomato plant was calling me on the shelf at the local nursery I was at. And you know, some of those plants, they just really kind of call at you and tell you got to take them home. So I really liked this one and had to grab it. Thought we'd try it here in this part of the alley inside this really large container. And then right next to that we've got our garden beds that we got here. We got a couple of raised beds right in the side of the alleyway here, and just planted out some onion starts just recently, as you saw on our planting day video, and they seem to be doing really well. At this point I feel like the roots are really starting to dig in there, and they're keeping themselves up, so I look forward to getting some good onions out of those this year. And it is lit. It is kind of mid-afternoon. The sun's been on these for a while, so they are looking a little drab for the moment, but as soon as the sun goes down and they get shaded, they'll be right back to life. But yeah, we got a couple of different varieties of cabbage planted out here, and in between that we planted out some different broccoli plants. Now down the alleyway just a little bit, right past my neighbor's space, which is his garden, basically my inspiration for growing in the alleyway here. But then my other neighbor's space, which he doesn't use, He lets me keep some containers here. And in this space, we've got container potatoes. I got some in a bucket, as well as these large storage containers. We've got a couple of different varieties of potatoes. And in between, I've put in some beans. We've got beans there, and they're pole beans, so they can grow up this trellis here. So everything's starting to grow out real good. Potatoes are looking great. They're about ready to be hilled up here real soon, and that's where we're just gonna fill the containers the rest of the way full once those plant tops get up out of the top of there. And then along the fence line here, we've got more of our 5-gallon water wicking buckets. Put in a couple of different varieties of peppers here, as well as tomato. I believe that's the Prax cherry tomato. I like to grow a lot of those, as well as some volunteers of those I have we'll see in here in just a minute. And then we got some more beans here. These are just more of a bush style bean. And then a couple varieties of peppers. Then here we have a couple varieties of eggplants. And they're doing really good in these containers right now, so I'm already starting to see some flowers come up off of this one here. And this one here has ground cherry. So we're growing some more ground cherries. And we got this poor little tomato start that just hoping survives. It was the only of this pineapple variety I had, so I was wanting to really try that one out. So hopefully that will make it and grow out some tomatoes for us. Yeah, that's the side of the alleyway there. Our alleyway is a two-way alleyway. We've got this one here, and then it cuts into a T going down the middle of the other half. And that's where down here we grow out a lot of our garlic. And this will be getting harvested here real soon. We look forward to a video of that coming up here in just a few weeks. And then right next to them, we planted out a bunch of different kale plants. We've got some blue curled kale in the back, and then I got a Tuscan kale in the middle, and then we've got a red Russian kale right up in the front. And then next to that, popping up here anytime now, will be those corn starts that I got put in there. We planted out some corn seed we were able to get this year, so hopefully we'll have a good corn crop, because we weren't able to get any corn last year. So, well, now let's go check out what's on the other side of this fence. So right at the T corner here of our alleyway, before we get to the other side of the fence, we planted out some more strawberries to have a nice little strawberry bed here. And the plants have just started to put out some flowers and a couple of different strawberries on some of those other plants. So maybe we'll get some. This poor little guy here. I tried loofah. It was something I wanted to really grow this year, and my starts are not doing very well. So, you know, we might have some really nice starts on certain varieties, but there's some things that we also have a hard time doing. And I was hoping to have this loofah just kind of grow up and vine along this fence line here. But we'll just have to kind of wait and see. And next to it, though, here is a pumpkin. We've got a big Dill's Atlantic pumpkin we're going to try to grow here all the way out in this space here, and hopefully have us a nice big pumpkin. There's plenty of room for it to spread itself around. We usually grow a pumpkin every year in that space, and we usually get some pretty good results, so I wanted to try a really big one. And then in buckets Running right down the line of the fence there, we've got a bunch of different varieties of tomatoes that we've got growing there. And in between, we've planted out different melons like watermelon. I've got some, oh, and squash too. We've got squash, crookneck squash, some watermelon, some more watermelon there. This is a table ace squash. And then I still haven't planted anything there yet. We also got some patty pan squash there as well as, oh boy, that start's not doing too well right there. It's like I said, it's midday. This is a day that's near 100 degrees, so these little starts are having a hard time. But I'm sure later on they'll probably perk right back up. But I believe these are some cantaloupe as well that we got put in there. And some more squash, melons, and then here in these containers right here, these 1-gallon containers, these are just a little micro dwarf tomatoes that I got from Baker Creek. It's this orange micro dwarf tomato called, what are they called? Orange Hat. They're called Orange Hat. And yeah, I'm excited about seeing those. And right back here, we got some more squash. I think some cantaloupe too there as well. And back in these containers here, we got sweet potatoes. And they're really starting to take off, getting ready to really stretch out there. And those things will vine up all over this place here, trying to reach over here into what is our peppers, which I've got under a shade cloth. Because again, these are starts I just put out recently. And I'm just kind of protecting them from some of that really harsh sun right now on our 100+ degree days. And then over across the way from there, we've got our peach tree and our pear tree we just planted out this season. This peach we've had for a couple seasons now. And we've got a couple of fruits growing on there. A couple of nice ones. I'd say about 7 or 8 throughout the tree. We'll see if they all come through. And it is just the first year for the other one, so we're not really expecting anything from it. So now on the other side of the alleyway, right behind our house, we do have this space here on the other side of our fence. The other side is the patio, which we'll be looking at here in a moment. But we've got some of our garlic here. This is some of our hardneck garlic that we've got growing in this patch here. And then this garlic here, which you'll get to find all about in our upcoming garlic episode. I'll explain to you what this garlic is too. It's just a little bit different than the other garlic that we have. And then I planted out some Swiss chard and some more broccoli back here. And then right behind them should be some more corn popping up here as well, as we just seeded out corn there. And we got a nice little melon too there right back behind them as well too. So hopefully that might grow out, and then we'll let it vine out this way here. So between our carports, we've got this space here, and each year I plant out poblano peppers here. This poblanos is one of our bigger pepper crops that we grow. So we've got several different poblano pepper plants that have been planted out, and I did have one extra there, which I think I'm going to actually put it in. And right behind it, we've got some celery. This is a pink celery I got from Baker Creek. So we got some of those plants popping up and growing. They're just now starting to really take off, so I'm really excited about checking out this pink celery. So in the back of our carport area here, I've got a couple of garden boxes. In this one here, we've got some of my leftover onion starts from the other box in the alleyway. So we planted those out. grow along there with our cucumbers. We've got a bunch of cucumbers that can grow up and vine along this nylon trellis that we've got all wrapped around the corner here. And there are more cucumbers up in the front there, in front of these radishes. We've got these French breakfast radishes, and then we've got a second batch growing a couple of weeks behind right there in front. And then our cucumbers in the front row. And soon we'll be harvesting all of the seeds off of this bunching onion that we've been growing over the last couple seasons. So it's now ready to go to seed, and then we'll be done with this plant here, but it'll probably actually seed itself out, and we'll probably get more bunching onion growing right back in that corner there. And right next to that we got another one of our apple plants, and it's really liking this spot here too. And as you can see, we've got some really nice apples growing on it already. So yeah, this plant's really liking it there. Can't wait to try those apples this year. Now on to our back patio area. We've got here some more mint growing in a container there. And right over this way, we've got our new garden box we built out a few episodes ago. And in our planting day, we also planted out some beans. Actually, we put in the runner bean. And then after that, I added some watermelon. These are a sugar baby watermelon. So they're small watermelons. We're going to try to grow up this fencing trellis I put in, which is kind of like a nice little overhang. So we'll see if we can get them to grow up on there and hold it. I might actually have to put some more support onto that. And let's see, right down over here we've got more of our 5-gallon wicking buckets. And I thought I'd try some little root crops in them this year. So we've got some radishes and turnips and some carrots growing out of these 4 buckets. And then I ended up with some volunteers growing out of this one here of some of our cucumber. Not exactly which cucumber it was. I'm really hoping it was the lemon cucumber that I had growing back in this space too. But I also had a couple of different other varieties of cucumber growing out of this box here too. This is a big, deep bedded box, and nice and deep so we can grow carrots in it. So we've got carrots growing right now, and we've got some beets right up front that are getting beat up by the sun right now. But all in all, the plants are doing pretty good. And they're starting to bulb up and everything right now too. So just not getting all the really good beet greens off of those. I like the beet greens. And across from that box there, also across from our new garden box, we have a couple of little lower ones. These are just squares. So there's 2 little squares here. And right up that trellis there, we grow out more cucumbers. So we've got some different varieties of cucumbers that are just getting started down in there, as well as in the boxes we've got like some arugula, turnips, lettuce greens. There's actually some carrots right up here, and also get down in here and take a look. We got some radishes. Let's see here. Yep. So yep, we're harvesting some radishes up out of there. And along the boxes, we just planted out some more pepper plants, replacing what was in these containers with some early broccoli that we've already harvested up. So we've planted out some more of our varieties of peppers. And then here, I just got to thin this out, but we've got I say mystery pepper, but it was a pepper that grew last year and seeded itself out again. But yet, it could be crossed, just as any other volunteers of pepper plants could be, if you're just letting them volunteer up. So we'll probably test out those again this year. Last year's was pretty darn hot. And then we have another one of our garden boxes here. And we've got a lot of different varieties of some cause over here, which is romaine. These ones didn't grow very well, but I did get a couple of heads of this red lights, I think it was. And it's not very red is what it looked like on the package, but there's a little bit there. And then we got more of this, oh shoot. Then we got a couple, wait. And then we got a couple more varieties of greens here. This stuff here, though, is just delicious. I am going to grow this every year now. This is a small, like, baby head lettuce that I got from Baker Creek. I'll put a link to it down below in the description. But yeah, that stuff is so good, and it just keeps growing so well. I've been picking and picking, and it just keeps growing and growing. And right here, we've got more of our garlic, which we're growing out in our 5-gallon wicking buckets, too. And this stuff's growing really well. I mean, these buckets work out really, really nicely. And as you can see, those are growing really well. And we've got a few more varieties of like radishes and different things growing in our containers up front there. If you can see right across the way, we've got our garden in a bag, which is our more lettuce greens that we've got growing right out of our garden soil bag. And right over here, right across the way, we've got this trellis here growing peas. So, and they're putting them out too. They're really putting them out right now. And that's the thing about these, though. You'll want to pick them as they're coming out, because then they'll just keep growing more and more and more. So the more you pick them, the more they're encouraged to grow more. And then right down alongside them here, we've got our volunteer Prax cherry tomatoes. These tomatoes I let drop off the plant, some of the nice big ones at the end of the year. I just let them sit on the plant, let them drop, and then each year they pop up and volunteer. Then we just kind of pick them out, most of them actually spaced out perfectly apart as we thinned them out. I did have to move one to get into that space over there, but this has got to be my favorite tomato. It's a really delicious tomato that was developed by Ray Browning at the channel Praxis 55712. I'll put a link down to his channel there. And yeah, really delicious tomatoes. And if you might be interested in any seeds, get down in the comments section below and let me know. So there you have it. Good look around at all of our different growing spaces here on the Urban Gardener, and everything's looking really nice this year. We only got a few things that aren't quite growing the way we expected it, but I have plenty more that are doing really, really well, and that is a real blessing this year. After last season, we didn't have quite the best season last season, so it's really great to see everything growing so well this year. And then another blessing is having all of you along with me here on the Urban Gardener, following along on this great gardening adventure with me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Hit that like button. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or anything at all, please get down in that comment section. I'd love to hear from each and every one of you. And again, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, I don't know what you're waiting for. You get down there, hit that subscribe button. In fact, hit that bell notification so you can be notified of upcoming episodes, and I'll see all of you on the very next one. As we continue gardening here on the Urban Gardener. Continue gardening. I threw gardening in there. It's usually growing. On the Urban Gardener. Why am I don't know. I'm trying to rewrite it right now, I think. Just trying to rewrite it. I think it's a great time for us to take a look around at our urban gardeners. Urban gardeners. Around all of our growing spaces here at the Urban Gardener. No. Follow along with all of us here on the Urban Gardener with our garden adventure. Yeah. And if you haven't already, get down below there. Hit you all on the next one.